the home side, South Australia. So let's look at the South Australian defensive lineup. Pitching is Jack Besgrove to Alexander Peely. At first base, Callum Turner. Second base is James Goslett. Third base, Hayden Doublestein. Cuba Buckskin at shortstop. And in the outfield is Sam Zwick, Caleb Zackley, and Adam Davey. So, Kim, we are about to get underway. There has been a slight delay in the game because Victoria just played against WA in an absolutely thrilling matchup. They've just gone down. It was 10-8 in favour of WA, but it was a huge game, plenty of action, plenty of excitement. So we're hoping it spills over to this game, and it's one to watch. So looking forward to the action.
Yeah, Victoria ended the last game as good as you could expect for a loss, and they had excitement all the way through. Their dugout was loud, and it looks like they are taking it into this game.
All right, here we go. Cody Smith is the leadoff for Victoria. He'll be playing second base. He's wearing uniform number 72. So very special thanks to Spacequake Sports, our broadcast partners, and of course Softball SA. Smith has a swing and a miss at that one. You can keep up to date on all the Nationals action happening around the country via Softball Australia social media pages and website, and you can join the conversation as Smith fouls that one off. You can join the conversation on Softball Australia socials with the hashtag Summer of Softball. So there's been some great coverage from around the country. I know the Open Women's, the Gillies Shield, and the Under-15 Girls Regionals are playing in Perth as we speak, and the Under-17 Girls, of course, are being played here in Adelaide simultaneously with the boys. So a ground ball from Smith to third base, and he'll arrive safely just on the midfield there by Doublestein at third base, and Victoria have their lead off aboard.
That was a great job by the leadoff hitter to put the ball in play off this pitcher and get on board. I'm really loving the coverage that not only Southpaw South Australia is providing, but also just Softball Australia in general. We actually had the University of Washington coaches texting me today asking for the rosters because they saw such great coverage.
Takes off on the pitch, and this one lands fair. Right fielder Davey, ball just gets away. And Smith's going to score from first, so action straight off the bat here. Victoria with a run on the board early. Great start from the Vics.
That is a beautiful job base running by Smith right there. Not often do you see a single turn into a run. Victoria's putting the bat on the ball right away. They're jumping on number 58.
Yeah, well, the new hitter for Victoria is Jared Reynolds, and that was Sam Seach who drove in that run, standing aboard on second base, so runner in scoring position already. This one's hit straight back to Besgrove, and he does real well there to do the mopping up, I guess you could say. He's hit back hard and gets a glove to it, knocks it down, and able to make the out at first base. The runner does advance, so Seach now across to third base. Jared Reynolds, the first out of the inning.
I think Besgrove is really trying to find a groove here, but he's going to have to start moving his pitches, maybe changing to some off speeds a little bit to keep this Victoria lineup off balance. They look like they have a bone to pick.
Well, in the left-handed batter's box is Ethan Lewis, the shortstop for Victoria. Sam Seach on third base. The infield right in for South Australia as well, so they're trying to reduce any damage here early in the game. Good take from Pelly there, the catcher for South Australia, just low and in the dirt, so not allowing that run to score easily.
Lewis is going to stay aggressive here, just like his teammates before him.
He does, he gets after it, and good play from Buckskin to knock it down. He is in tight, so that was a tough one to get. He has to break to his backhand side, knocking it down. However, Lewis arrives safely to first, and Seach scores from third. So two quick runs for Victoria.
If you're Jackson Holiday for Victoria as the pitcher, this is exactly what you want to see from your offense in the first inning.
What do you call that one, a hit or a fielder's choice maybe? He held on to the ball, or an infield single maybe?
I think it's an infield single. Made a good attempt at it, but not enough time.
Well, Miles Harding up to bat for the Vicks and hoping to keep the ball rolling for him and stamping some authority on the game, whereas Bestgrove for South Australia will be looking to stamp his authority on the game and trying to help his team out and get that, and the next out, the second out.
Can't knock him. He's putting the ball in play for his defense, but they're just out of reach at this moment.
Well, it's been all aggression so far from Victoria. Batter gets the signal. That's Harding from coach Chris Holliday. Now, I think they'll go to a short game now after they've hit pretty well.
I don't think they're going to. With 2 runs already on the board, I think we have the coach giving his hitters the green light to keep attacking.
Yeah, why not? It's worked so far. Well, we saw from last night's game that we got to have a plan B. Otherwise, the pitcher could dominate. 16 strikeouts we saw last night. Oh, gee. That was a chopper that went in between 4 fielders, believe it or not. I couldn't even imagine that would happen. First base ended up fielding it. It went over the head of the pitcher. Second base was breaking in. Shortstop was breaking to his left. And it was first base in the end that fielded it. Runners aboard safe, or batters aboard safely. Harding at first, and the runner advances to second.
Bestgrove shows his frustration there a little bit.
Well, James Gosler gets a hard shot hit towards him. The runner's going to turn third. No, he holds up. So Gosler had his work cut out for him there. So South Australian defence right under the hammer from the get-go. Loaded bases now for Victoria. That was Jackson Holiday aboard. So Lewis, Harding and Holiday occupying the bases for the Victorians. And now to bat is the catcher Marcus Ferraro.
I would really like to see a timeout called here by maybe a leader on the field or even the South Australian coaching staff, just to recoup, settle everybody down a little bit and slow the game down a little.
Well, Ferraro just gets after that first one, so the aggression continues for the Victorians. We see a close-up of Ferraro there, wearing the glasses at night. Bestgrove gets his signal, deals, and that aggression continues. Ferraro for the Vicks has 2 swings in 2 pitches and 2 foul balls, so gets behind the count 0-2. So this will be the first time we've seen Bestgrove ahead in the count. Let's see what he comes up with. Hadn't seen a variation of pace yet. Oh, this ball pops up high, heads up here for our scorers to the left, and just out of reach for the catcher. Pelly, would you say Pelly, Peely pronunciation? Who knows?
That's a good one. I'm not quite sure on that. I'd like to see Bestgrove get a little bit more out of the zones. He's throwing almost a little bit too much around the zone at this point, and I think Victoria is jumping on from the movement they saw last game from Western Australia, and movement and the speed. Bestgrove just putting a little bit too much over the plate.
Gets it out of the zone, and up ball, strikes out the second out of the inning.
Bestgrove got a nice jump on that one. Right in on the hands, jumping right above the wrists.
Just what South Australia needed with loaded bases and 1 out. So there's 2 out now with that strikeout, bringing to the plate first base Nathan Tidy. Now he keeps the aggression going, fouls off the first pitch. He too's wearing the glasses at night, so the Vicks obviously have a future so bright.
They do. They are on top of this pitcher, but hats off to Bestgrove in this situation. All he can do is keep doing his best and putting the ball in play when his defense is unfortunately failing him right now.
Well, that's good calling from the catcher, getting the ball out of the zone because they're swinging at everything right here. And another example of that there.
I think they're starting to get in a little bit of a groove together. Keeping the ball out of the zone and see if they'll chase it.
Well, shapes to bunt, but obviously pulls back on that one for a more of a controlled swing, maybe hands up the handle and just trying to get the ball into play. So Victoria, 2 early runs so far, and scoreboard showing just the 1 hit. So we had the single to 9 and a couple of infield singles. So maybe fielder's choice in there and the error that is on the scoreboard. So 2-2 count now.
2-2. I'd really like to see an off-speed. I'm interested to see if he actually does have an off-speed or change-up, or if he's waiting to show it later in the game, James.
It can be a real weapon. Low rise, just underneath the knees, and catcher just asking for confirmation on that one there. And with 2 out, you think the infield just, it feels like they're a little too close. They need to be back a little more for that hard hit. They can get more range that way. Just chops at that one and it goes foul. So stays alive in the count. It's still 2-2.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see the middle infielders back playing on the grass to give them a little bit better angle on the balls with how much it's getting put in play.
That's right. The ball's going into play almost every batter here, and if they're back to the grass, they can play any base as well. So they can play a close base with the loaded bases.
Correct.
Well, Bestgrove deals, and that one's in there for a second strikeout. So although 2 runs, Victoria continued to threaten, and 2 consecutive strikeouts to end the inning, and Bestgrove gets his team out of trouble.
That's a great inning from Victoria, almost all the way through their lineup in the first inning. Can't complain if you're that coaching staff.
8 batters and 2 runs. I've got a couple of errors down here, but scoreboard just showing the 1. Doesn't matter. We will roll with what we've got. Kim, do you want to go through the South Australian defence, or sorry, the Victorian defence for us?
Yeah, let's go through that. So we are having Jackson Holiday pitching for us, and he is throwing to Marcus Ferrero. At first base, we have Nathan Tidy. Second base, we have Cody Smith. We have third is Sam Seach. Shortstop, we have Ethan Lewis. And in the outfield, we have Miles Harding, Jared Reynolds, and Damian Trench. French or Trench?
French. Just looks a little funny on the scorecard that we've got. I'm going to say French.
Jackson Holiday's up in the red cleats there. I wonder if his normal league team has a little different color and some red on the glove. Red isn't traditional Victorian colors, is it?
No, they wear the big V for Victoria, and it's South Australia that normally wears the red, so a bit flashy for the young fella, and no doubt he can play because he's got a very famous Victorian surname in softball.
Oh, is it? It's a very famous name in baseball in America.
All right, to get things going for the home team, Caleb Zackley, South Australian centre fielder. Shows bunt, it's low but called strike.
I'd love that to be called a strike all game if I were Holiday right now.
Caleb's been a bit of a utility. I've seen him play in the infield in a couple of games so far this tournament. Again, shows bunt, so he's behind in the count. 2 unsuccessful bunt attempts, 0-2, chasing 2 runs in the first.
He's going to have to shorten up and look to put it in play as a leadoff. You really want to see that. Get the bat on the ball, have the dugout get some momentum for you.
Change of pace from Holiday, but it's high and out of the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count.
Very interesting seeing an off speed. I mean, the very first batter, a completely different approach than Bestgrove has.
And patiently watches ball 2. So pretty good from Zackley as he got behind in the count early with 2 bunt attempts and then has watched the next 2 go by him.
A hitter with a good eye and some patience is always going to be your first #1 choice in that leadoff spot. Gets
after this one. It's a little high in the zone, gets under it and pops up to second base player Cody Smith for the first out.
Not a bad at bat by number 40. He saw quite a few pitches for his team and allowing the number 2 batter to get a grip on what Holiday's throwing to our South Australian team.
Callum Turner up to bat now for the South Australian team. He's playing first base in this game. Watches this one through for a called strike. So we saw the Vics get after the pitching, and now we're watching the South Australians watch patiently, and 2 called strikes on Turner.
South Australia, no need to rush, but they do need to be aggressive considering Victoria is doing that exact same thing.
Oh, hit by a pitch. One bounce and into the shin of Turner. Tucks the mouth guard into the back pocket, hands over the elbow guard to first base coach Meg Chaplin. He didn't even flinch, didn't rub it, not even bothered by it.
That's how you take a pitch right there. As a pitcher, there's nothing worse than seeing a hitter get hit and not flinch, to not experience any pain on your mistake.
Yeah. Well, a short timeout called from Victoria, just not quite sure why, doesn't matter. There's 1 out, and up to bat, the number 3 hitter for South Australia is Zam Zweck, who shows bunt and pulls back on a called strike.
That timeout very well could be to assess Turner's speed there at first base and discuss who's covering second base on the steal.
Well, it actually looked like Smith broke towards second as a first movement, so it might be interesting to see what happens now. Pulls back, and Smith has a bit of a jog over to first base, covering plenty of ground. Turner wasn't going anywhere. Gets a signal from Coach Kelvin Williams. Zweck seen 1 ball and 1 strike so far. High for ball 2.
South Australia lineup is making Holiday work right now. They want to see the strikes and they want to see it over the plate.
Interesting on the corners for Victoria. They are charging in harder on the hitter. And Zweck gone into a good hitter's count. 3 balls and 1 strike. Hasn't taken the bat off his shoulder. Well, except when he scored to bunt, but hasn't needed to.
Let's see how Holiday performs now that he has a runner on base.
In the zone, a ground ball to third base. Plays the lead runner for an out. Ball just gets away from second base player Smith on the double opportunity.
Very quick hands there by Cody Smith. He was just off of turning that double play right there.
Yeah, Cody Smith at second it was, and just getting away from Nathan Tidy at first. My apologies. So great play from third base Seach, who was playing shortstop in the game prior. So a left side fielder there, and he did very well. Great play for the leadoff. Jack Basgrove, the pitcher, up to bat. Crushes this one up the middle. Great backhand play from Smith to end the South Australian innings. So not bad from SA. They had a couple of opportunities there. Basgrove's shot looked very good, but Smith up to the challenge, making a great backhand play.
Right before his swing, I was expecting a big one from him. I think he has a little bit of anger going on. He really wants to show this team in the stands what he can do out there.
Well, South Australia, although getting a runner on base and looking okay, they didn't manage to score. So Victoria's going to hold a lead after the first inning of 2-0.
Let's see if Basgrove can settle down a little bit, forget about last inning, and go out there and attack these hitters that he faces the second time through the lineup.
Well, Spacequake Sports bring us this live stream production for us during the Adelaide Club competition season every Wednesday and Saturday night, but they're bringing all the 8 p.m. games this week, and that is very special thanks to Statewide Super, MC Sports and MK Services SA. So thank you for all our broadcast partners. We can't do it without you, and it is a privilege to bring you the action right here thanks to Softball SA. Now you can watch all the highlights and live plays through our Softball SA Facebook page, YouTube channel, and even on Instagram, or you can catch the action at home from the comfort of your couch on NITV, Channel 34 nationwide, and South Australian viewers, Channel 44 on Saturday afternoons. All a very special thanks to Softball SA and Spacequake Sports. Let's get back to the action, and it's the 9-hitter Damien French for the Victorians. They had a very good start to the game, scoring 2 runs early, and let's see how they go here. Well, Esgrove still firing them in there, and the Vics still aggressively swinging that bat.
French down quickly 0-2. This is his 3rd batter in a row. Bestgrove's getting 0-2 on the hitters. Let's see if he can keep it out of the zone, get a swing. Yes, and he does. Good rise ball there.
Well, the first out is a strikeout. Make it 3 in a row for Bestgrove.
I think he's finally settling in, getting his excitement cooled down, and really attacking the hitters how he should.
Well, back to the top of the order for Victoria, and this is Smith, who the ball lands in safely just in front of Davey at right field, fires it in, and Cuba Buckskin at shortstop for SA. So great start to the game from Cody Smith. He's been in the play at second base, and he has also been on board. Scored the first run of the game. He's been on board twice now for the Vics. 1 out, runner in scoring position on second for Sam Seach.
It's really interesting to see the differences between the boys and the girls' games, but their speed from home to second, home to first, it is great to see. I mean, that should have been just a single in a girls' game, but easy double for Smith right there.
Bestgrove firing it in there straight away, and Pelly calls timeout. He'll have a chat to Bestgrove, probably as the runner from second is just having an eye on the signal, so they'll talk it over.
What's your take on that? Do you think that's poor sportsmanship, James, when they kind of signal what's going on? Do you think we need to go towards the signals? Because in America, we are now to the point where it's always on your wrist and the coach is calling out numbers, so that situation can't happen.
Yeah, I think the runner on second base can try to deliver as much information to the batter as possible without giving it away or making it too obvious. So they might give away the location maybe, or the pitch. This is a good shot from Seach out to right field, and Davey just couldn't get under it and has to fire the ball in. And Smith's going to score easily from second. So the top order for Victoria, Smith and Seach getting it done. Second hit of the game for Seach. Both hits to right field, and funnily enough, so was Smith's hit. So they might be a little late on the ball, but they are really smashing at opposite field. So great batting from the top order from Victoria.
They really are. I'd like to see Bestgroves go a little bit inside and see if they can turn on the pitch as well as they can go with it.
Catches the outside edge, not called. So just a nod of the head from the umpire. So obviously the catcher Pelly for South Australia communicating with the umpire, just making sure he knows where the zone is and is not.
Absolutely, it's so key for the catcher to have a good rapport
This
with
one
umpire.
just goes straight into the ground. Bestgrove does the fielding, so pretty good off his own bowling, as we say over in Australia. A cricket reference for you, Kim, you might not understand, but that is the second out.
I love me some cricket. That's one thing I do now that I've been in Australia for 7 weeks. Cricket's something I'm getting quite used to.
You went to the Big Bash.
I did. I went to the
New Year's.
Big Bash on New Year's, and the only thing I wanted to see during that time was a 6 get robbed. I don't know if that's the right lingo, but I did indeed see a 6 get robbed by 2 players. It was great to see.
Well, we just saw part of the statewide super replay that showed Seach's hit and Smith scoring and crossing the play. So what a great start from Victoria. They've got 3 on the board early, a runner in scoring position now. Just a timeout call. Is there a substitution, Kim, that you've seen, or
There
is
is. Adam Davey just came in from right field. I don't think the coaching staff was too happy with the last 2 plays that he made. Seemed a little frustrated coming in the dugout.
You see what number went out there? Was that 21? Oliver Askew has gone out to right field for Davey. Well, pretty tough on Davey. He hasn't even had a bat yet. All right, Lewis. Now the shortstop for Victoria. Watches that one through for a called strike.
I love this lefty on lefty matchup. In the big leagues, you wouldn't normally do it, but I love it. You get a backdoor curve in on their hips.
Called strike, just like that. Called from the pitching expert herself, Kim Reeder. So for our viewers at home, Kim Reeder is an American import for our local competition. She's been kind enough to join us in the commentary position in the absence of our very good friend here at Softball SA, Lee Hull. We're wishing you all the best. Lewis pops up to the outfield, and Caleb Zackley makes a great effort, some good range out there at centre field, and takes a good catch for the 3rd out. So Victoria put a run on the board in the 2nd inning, and they go ahead 3 runs to 0.
Our umpires of the game tonight, Danielle Bell-Chambers behind home plate, Ron Trow, I think it is, because he said like crow. And then 3rd, we have Joel Grimes. They're giving me a little bit of a hard time, actually, because of my accent and my inability to understand that he was saying tro, not trout, like the fish.
Okay, there you go. Well, I said it to you early on in your visit to Australia, which was about November, I believe, that you have a funny accent. You said that, what accent?
Exactly.
All right. Well, the South Australian team did pretty well. They got a couple of base runners on in the 1st inning. This time round, we go to James Goslett, who is from the Harndorf Softball Club here in South Australia, and does a little bit of A grade as well as B grade. So it's interesting to see how he goes against Holiday, because he's faced faster pitches than this before. Holiday into his motion to get things going, and just misses the outside edge.
Now, the South Australian roster I actually saw in the Nationals booklet is a little short on members. Do they have a lot of imports going into this game?
Yeah, so South Australia, Goslett hits the ball straight back to Holiday, does a great job, reflex play there, and I know you don't like them coming straight back at you as a pitcher, but not a bad piece of the ball from Goslett. Did chop it straight down into the ground, which probably took a little pace off the ball for Holiday, and gets it across for first base and the out. So I've forgotten the question, Kim.
The imports.
Right,
I only
yes.
saw, I think, about 8 players listed for the South Australian roster.
Cuba Buckskin, the hitter, goes after the first pitch, and Seach, the throw's just a little wide, and Tidy has to come off the base. So Buckskin aboard for the SA team. So another runner on base, and let's watch the statewide super replay as Buckskin swings at the first pitch. Just a little chopper towards 3rd, and you can see the throw brings Tidy off. And he wasn't happy, was he, Tidy, with that play. So Buskin will get a lead off for South Australia. Oh, that's way off the base. So I'm sure Ferrero for Victoria will be looking to make this. You can see the cheeky grin.
He has a smile on his face right there. He knew he got off a little bit too much. Hips were still facing second base. If the catcher had thrown, he would have had no chance to get back.
Well, bunt attempt from Hayden Dabblestein for South Australia. 1 ball and 1 strike now for Hayden. Now, just back to Cuba, who was a very special participant in the opening ceremony yesterday evening. He read out the welcome to country, a Ghana Indigenous member himself, and did very well in front of a massive crowd here at West Beach. So well done, Cuba, on that performance. Oh, another big lead off and dives back safely. So he's hard out, but he's hard back. So
hey, that's what you
very
do want
important.
to see. As long as you can get back, it's fine to get out there.
So just on the South Australian lineup, yes, there is the 8 local players. Well, pick-off attempt here. This gets away, so Cuba's going to take an easy base. So sliding in, and South Australia, the runner in scored position. He must be a favourite. There's a bit more noise in the crowd coming for everything that Cuba does, and he, of course, is a very well-known player around the associations here in South Australia. He plays at NAMSA and in the Hills.
Yeah, it sounds like he has quite a few fans over there, and all that movement he was doing at first base paid off and got an errant throw from the catcher to allow him to get to second base.
Yeah. So let's see if we can get it out this time. South Australia have 8 local players playing in the team, and they have 6 interstate draft players. So just to help build the numbers, home team playing in a home tournament. So they got special permission from Softball Australia to get a couple of extra players to ensure that we had a team. Men's players numbers are a little low in South Australia, probably, well, lowest in the country percentage-wise, and just, you know, around the world, the men's numbers probably a little higher than what most people think, but definitely Australia in the boys and the men's are right up there in world rankings. #1 in the world in the under-19 men's. They won the World Championship just middle of last year, and the Open men's were runners-up the year before in the World Championships. So great pedigree in softball for men's in Australia, not so much in South Australia, but so very special thanks to those draft players. Another ground ball back to Holiday. Cuba Buckskin advances to third, so 2 out now, and runner at third. So Holiday's done a little bit of work. He's had a few ground balls straight back to him.
He is. I think he's doing a good job of keeping the hitters off balance, quite possibly due to the fact he doesn't throw as hard as I have seen from the U17 boys so far today. It looks like almost half of the hitters, a little bit more, a little too far out in front.
This is Alexander Pelly here for South Australia, the catcher, and he is one of the interstate draft players. So this will be the first time I've seen Alex up to bat. I'm going to call him Alex. I don't know if he likes that or not. He pops up to the right field. He's got to drop in. He doesn't beat it out. Safe is the call. And the run scores from third. So great shot from Pelly. Buckskin scores on that RBI. So just a little bit of a lesson for the kids watching at home. Pelly needs to beat that out, doesn't he? He needs to make sure he's safe just in case that happens, and very close play.
It's really easy to get down when you pop the ball up and not run it out, but Pelly did a great job continuing through that, getting on base for his team.
So the run scores for South Australia and reduces the Victorian lead. It is now 3 runs to 1. There are 2 out in the bottom of the second. And Oliver Askew for South Australia laid down a running bunt. A great play from Cinch at third, but the ball gets away. Pelly tries to take the extra base on the throw. So what started out to be very good for South Australia turned out to be extremely good for Victoria. They get out of that inning with a great play and a great throw over to third base for the third out, and aren't Victoria looking good? They're bouncing off, and they're keen to get back in the batter's box, put another run.
Sam Seach had a great play on that, almost Derek Jeter-like with the pickup there, throwing it to first base, and I think Cody Smith should have had that for Victoria, but luckily we had Nathan Tidy pick it up and throw it across the diamond for that out.
Yeah, great play and a good throw to make that out. So we'll go into the third inning, and well, the game seems to be going along okay. There's been plenty of action, lots of swings and balls into play, which is great. We love to see that. But Victoria look to be quite strong, but South Australia definitely haven't given up. So just a slight delay, not too sure what it is just yet, Kim. Oh, it was the catcher. Catcher was the third out. Well, should have been a catcher speed up runner. Should have seen that. but no worries. There was no courtesy runner, so that was the slight delay.
Now, James, I do have to admit, these young boys and the young men in Australia, they can grow their hair. Harding's coming up to bat here with some luscious locks looking like Thor.
Yeah, we've seen that a little bit. Cuba, of course, rocking the man bun as well under that red South Australian cap. So both teams with their share of the long hair, and I've seen it around the diamonds as well. The boys like to wear their hair long.
You think it's the beach vibe? Is that what it is?
Possibly.
Beach hippie vibe?
Well, Harding will ground out to first base. Turner for the first out on the first pitch. So good defense from the SA boys.
Finally an easy out for South Australia. They haven't seen too many of those tonight.
Yeah, well, we saw 3 consecutive strikeouts for the SA pitcher Bestgrove, but yeah, a nice, easy play for South Australia is what they would have wanted to see to start this third inning as they chase 2 runs, a 2-run lead. Holiday, it is back up to bat. He got the ball into play. A hard shot to second base, and it was Goslet at second that just couldn't get a handle on the ball. Big cut from Holiday, swing and a miss.
Dare I say that Bestgrove is looking a little bit more relaxed, James. I noticed a little tension in him that first couple innings, but he's looking a little bit more relaxed.
We saw that last night with the Victorian pitcher, didn't we, for the girls? She got into a rhythm and then just decimated the SA girls lineup. 16 strikeouts. Who will forget that performance in a hurry?
Not anytime soon, that's for sure. Hopefully somebody got out. Hashtag somewhere Murphy out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Victorian women's team may have watched that game to be inspired. They took on Queensland today in the Gilly Shield in Perth in Western Australia. Upset win, so well done to Monica Perry. She pitched a win against the highly fancied Queenslanders and pitched very well. So she's got off to a great start at the tournament. Hello to Monica. It was her birthday yesterday as well. A favourite in South Australia.
Yes, hi Monica. She did. She said she was watching our broadcast last night, actually.
Yeah, she sent me a Snapchat. I'm listening, she
You're
said.
so lucky, James.
All right, well, Holiday, still aggressive, swinging. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. We've got 1 out.
I'm still waiting for that off speed. It would make me so happy to see one.
Good piece of the ball. This one ricochets off. 1 bounce from the shortstop. Cuba bucks in. Just couldn't read the bounce there. It's been warm and hot today, so the ground's a little dry. We have been putting a fair bit of water on, but he just took a tough bounce there. And good shot from Holiday, so he's aboard. So a hard shot gets him on base.
That was a solid piece from number 26. He got all of that ball.
Ferrero now for SA. He was one of the strikeout victims. As Holiday takes off on the pitch, and this one gets away. But great backup from Zackley. So Holiday in scoring position now. Geez, he had some wheels, didn't he? Took off quick.
Yes, he sure did. He didn't even take off early on that. He was safe by a mile.
Well, 1 out now for Ferrero.
Let's see if Ferrero can come back from his K last inning.
Oh, that one coming hard.
Ooh.
Hard and high, and
Too close for my comfort, that's for sure.
got away from the catcher as well. So Holiday gets a free pass over there to third base, and now threatening Victoria once again. So the work cut out for the SA pitcher, Bestgrove. Oh, swing and a miss. It was a foul tip, so runners can't go anywhere. So he's ahead of the count here. Geez, he's starting to throw it hard, isn't he? First he got into that groove, and now he's really putting something extra on.
Yeah, now that he's found his spots to hit, he's putting a little bit more gas behind it.
High for a ball, so 2-2 count. There was no swing off from what I saw, but South Australian catcher Pelly is asking for a check swing.
Yeah, never hurts to double check, huh? We'll take any out we can get. Pitchers and catchers both.
2-2, split grip shown, and patiently watches that up ball go past around about chin height.
Ferrero can keep his head on this next one. I think he has a shot to put this out in the gap. Pulling off the ball just a bit.
Well, payoff pitch. Interesting, yeah, he shows that split grip again. Pulls back. Oh, that one's hit him.
It did. That rise turned into a little bit of a curve rise, and being a lefty came right into the helmet.
Yeah, well, that is the risk there for the left-handed pitcher to the right-handed batter. He could see it curve in, and that's exactly what happened. So, you think he got him on the shoulder, maybe?
I don't know. I think I saw mostly helmet there. Just ducked it off and just glanced off. The big difference I do see, I don't see not one boy out here wearing a mask on his helmet. Is that a big difference between the men and the women's game? Are you guys a little too tough? No mask for you guys, huh?
No, it's not really seen in the men's game. No, I've got no answer for you, Kim.
It's very surprising considering the men throw that much harder, and the ball can glance off the bat very easily. You can hit it into the on-deck batter as well. I've seen it many times in my life and actually broke my own face in Italy. So I can attest to the helpfulness of masks.
Asking all the hard-hitting questions, Kim, and as Victoria go back to work, tidy it is going to hit this one out to right field. And a good catch from Askew, but does the job for his team. Tidy, a sacrifice, fly ball to right field.
No chance of getting Holiday on that one. Tidy did his job, absolutely getting it out deep enough into the grass right there for Holiday to score easily.
Yep, deep right field, and although a good catch, there was no chance of a play at home, and did well enough to stop the runner from first advancing at least as well. So a quick change. We see a courtesy runner come in for catcher Ferrero.
Liam Bonner is coming in.
So coming off the bench, Liam. So it's a courtesy runner, so it's not a substitution, just the catcher speed up rule.
Oliver Askew did a great job of actually keeping the runner on first base because he was tagging, so.
Well, Victoria have put that fourth run on the board and goes back to the 3-run lead that they had after they finished their third inning.
How about Alexander Pelly being almost as tall as home plate umpire Danielle Bell-Chambers while he's in a squat, towering over her as he stands up.
Yeah, very interesting to see. It's must be easier for her to squat down into the strike zone region. Yeah, she hardly has to bend over. Miller, the hitter for Victoria, has a swing and a miss at that one and gets away from Pelly, the catcher, and so an advanced base for the courtesy runner.
Bestgrove's rise ball is jumping right now. There's so much spin on that ball. I can't really blame Alex Pelly for not being able to handle it back there.
Actually, Miller has come off the bench as well for the 9-hitter Damien French. And he slides into second, head first for a double. Bonner, the courtesy runner, scores the second run of the inning and the 5th for the game for Victoria. So the runs are flowing freely here for the Victorians, and a nice pinch hit double from Jordan Miller.
Once again, easily turning what should have been a single in girls' game to a double. I love it. The aggressiveness on the bases, unparalleled.
Well, I once heard someone say the difference between the boys and the girls game, and no disrespect, same sport, different game. And you can see from the aggression and the speed of what we're seeing out there, it can cause a bit of hardness in the game as well. Definitely collisions and you know, although there should be no deliberate contact, there's a lot of contact that we can see when the runners are sliding in or diving in or running hard around the bases.
Yes, these boys are definitely wreaking havoc on the bases right here, and that causes urgency on the defense and in tune creates a lot of errors out there.
Yeah, the ball's just stuck in the cover out there in foul territory. Just askew fishes it out there, but I'll just go back to that point. Love the women's game. I'm a massive fan. I come out most weeks or as often as I can to call the action here on Spacequake Sports, and I'll be lucky enough to travel to catch some of the action at the Asia Pacific Cup, which will be played at Blacktown, and that's a Softball Australia event. And then the Summer Slam, fully loaded softball. I cannot wait to see that in action. Very early February, and if you can't get out to Blacktown to watch it, you can catch it on Foxtel. It'll be on prime time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night in February. And it's going to be a great event for softball in Australia. So Bestgrove strikes out Cody Smith, who is the leadoff batter for Victoria. It was his third time up to bat and just the third inning. So he's seen plenty of play.
I'm so excited
strikes
for
out on that occasion.
Summer Slam to get underway. It's going to be so great for the sport of softball. And the fact that Australia is hosting it, that much better.
Yeah, something different as well. It's going to be a 60-minute game. It's going to be a 3 innings game. And the start of every inning, the bases are going to be loaded. I can't wait to see the tactics of some of the coaches. We're going to see Andrew Kirkpatrick, Cheesy as he's affectionately known. He's going to be coaching one of the teams. He's a world champion softball player himself. The best pitcher in the ISCs as well this year, or just the season just gone past for the championship team, the New York Gremlins, and so he's going to take the helm of one of the teams, as will Lang Harrow, the newly appointed Travelodge Aussie Spirit head coach. Kerry Porter, KP from New South Wales, another one of the coaches, as well as the recently appointed Junior Steelers coach from Western Australia. And oh, they're going to kill me. Who's the sixth coach? Name escapes me for the moment, just off the top of my head. I should have written my notes better. I can't wait to see the action, because we're going to see Aussie Spirit players, so the Travelodge Aussie Spirit players spread across 6 teams. We're going to see players from Italy and New Zealand and Chinese Taipei joining them, so it's going to be an international flavour as well, and all that action will be live. It will be during primetime television on Fox Sports, so tune in
unheard of there
to Softball Australia, and that will be the crown jewel of the hashtag Summer of Softball, so cannot wait for that.
I'm a little biased, but I would like to see maybe pitchers being able to do a walkthrough in that Summer Slam. I think it's geared towards creating a little bit more offense and making the game a lot more exciting, kind of like cricket did from Test cricket over to the Big Bash League of doing those 20 overs.
Of course, yeah. Jeffrey Coultis, of course, the recently named Junior Steelers coach.
That's a hack right there by Zackley.
Caleb Zackley has a big swing at that one. 2-2 the count. Hey, I'm going to give a shout out to our viewers watching in Victoria. And in particular, a good mate of mine, Shagger. Thanks, Shane, for reaching out to us as Zackley pops up to the third base player, Sam Seach.
Zackley had a bit of a bat flip there, not the bat flip that you would typically see on that play. You usually see those on the home runs, which I heard about last game. There were 2 home runs and there was 2 bat flips, one higher than the other.
An enormous bat flip from the Western Australian player in the previous game. Unnecessary, but it was good to see. Well, Turner.
Whoa, bat is flipped again, but a little bit more angry this time.
That's the second time he's been hit, and so you can sense the emotion in the game. He's taken a hard one there this time round, and he's feeling it this time. Didn't flinch the first time.
Wonder if there's any history between these two, for that's just coincidence that he's gotten hit twice now.
Purely a coincidence.
Holiday looks like he's kicking his dirt over there as if he maybe stepped or landed wrong on that pitch, actually.
Yeah, no need to hit a batter at this stage of the game or tournament. There's been no emotion shared between the two teams. It's just been a good, hard game of softball so far, so no ill intent there, and we'll see Sam Zweck come up to bat for South Australia.
Oh.
Coach Holiday just wanted to have a chat to Ron Trow at first base, maybe just checking with the base runner, maybe, I don't know. Can you pick it up, Kim?
Not quite.
Let's see what
Maybe
happens with
he's,
Trow, if he goes over to the runner at all. Maybe there is a little feeling out there, Kim.
Yeah, maybe there's a little chatter going on with Turner. Who knows? Doesn't look like he was leaving early or asking the umpire to look for that.
Well, that one definitely nowhere near the hitter, very much outside. So Zweck goes to a 1-on-1 count. There is one out here in the bottom of the third inning. So Sam did that running bunt earlier on in the game.
That could work in this scenario.
Great piece of the ball, what a great catch! Right up for the challenge. Second base player Cody Smith has been in plenty of action tonight. What a screamer of a catch to his glove side, just breaks to the left. Let's watch the statewide super replay. Great piece of the ball from Sam and Cody Smith. What a great play, and then makes the double. So Victoria.
Turner had absolutely no chance on that. Not his fault there, but he's having a discussion with third base umpire Joel Grimes. I'm not quite sure. Maybe he did think that it was intentional on Holiday's part. Taking a while to get out of the dugout now, still having some chatter with his teammates.
It might be best to let it go for the moment. His team's trailing by 4, so just after 3 innings. And SA will definitely be trying to reduce any further damage to the scoreboard, but they've got their work cut out for the. Sam Seach will be leading things off here in the 4th innings. He's already got 2 RBI singles.
Yeah, I'd love to see Turner and the rest of the team put that behind him right now. It's very easy for a situation like that to derail the focus of the team when you are behind 4 runs, and that's what the focus needs to be on right now.
All right, warm-up pitches are done, and Seach heads to the plate.
Seach with 2 doubles. Let's see if he can make it 3.
So just a bit of a recap for a couple of the scores for our SA viewers, at least anyway. The Open Women's over in Perth at the Gillies Shield had 1 win and 1 loss today, so their record of 2-2. A huge win, 15-0 over ACT in 3 innings, and big 13-run inning they had. And under 17 girls had 2 wins today, one against Queensland and the other against ACT.
Australia Capital Territory.
That's what the ACT stands for, yes. Sam Seach gets plenty of this ball, but Caleb Zackley running back with the fly to the ball, knowing the fence is just meters away, takes a great catch, and no fuss for Caleb Zackley out there at centre field. He's just takes the catch and just throws the ball back in. Let's watch the statewide super replay. Gee, I thought that was gone off the bat.
I did too. Showing off his speed out there. Great read, opened those hips and got behind that ball.
Jared Reynolds now for Victoria, has grounded out back to the pitcher both times. Maybe has a little trouble with the lefties, who knows?
I don't know, but all I want in this life, all I want for Christmas is that rise ball to be called a strike for me. That is beautiful.
Yeah,
Just under the
pitch.
armpits. To have that called a strike makes a pitcher so dangerous.
He's got that rise ball kicking very nicely now. Maybe the West Beach breeze is just helping that out just a little bit. It's been a little blowy today, but we seem to be a bit protected actually by our grandstand, but the flag is waving very heavily out there in the right field corner, so maybe aiding Bestgrove at the moment with that rise ball. Good piece of the ball from that one is called foul.
Just foul. I thought it might have fell in there, James.
Yeah, very close to the line. We saw the first base umpire sort of run for the hills a little bit there because the ball was heading his way. So plate umpire Bellchambers made that call. It was a little late, but doesn't matter. She got the call right.
Reynolds did a great job of getting on top of that rise ball. It's pretty impressive how, especially these Victorians, are getting on top of the rise ball that is well above their hands.
Great pitch, that low lifter from Bestgrove.
Where did that miss, James?
Well, we don't have the same view as the umpire, so maybe she saw it slightly different, but it was definitely close. But benefit of the doubt here for Reynolds as he gets a life. This one pops up and Cupid Buckskin has to get across to make a great catch. Good communication. May have shoved that one off in front of Goslett, but it was Buckskins all the way. Didn't take his eye off the ball. Statewide super replay will show it.
Hey, shortstop always has command of that field. Great job by Buckskin. Buckskin's coming in. Second base is going behind. Always his.
There's that backdoor curve that you want to see,
Love
Kim.
it. I can't get enough of it. The hips kick out, you think it's going to hit you, and then right over the black of the plate. Lewis doesn't like it.
Great play at first base from Turner.
Turner had some confidence on that one. Snagged it. Walked to the base. Oh, now they're exchanging words again.
Yeah, so obviously something was said, and plate umpire Bellchambers just trying to clear it up, and Turner just pleading his case a little bit. That was a great play, I've got to tell you. He had to break to his right, that's his backhand side, and plenty of time just to touch first base. So
made it look easy.
Couple of good plays there from the South Australian boys to get out of that inning without giving up a run, taking the Vic boys down 1, 2, and 3. So can they continue the form that they've had? I'll tell you that they've been slightly unlucky. There's been a couple of double plays and or a second play from Victoria, so they gave up a hit, but then they get the advanced runner and taking that extra base. That was at the bottom of the second, and we saw that great double play. Cody Smith taking great dive and catch, and so the Vics have been great in the field. So South Australia probably just need to take full advantage of the opportunities that they're getting and putting a couple more runs on the board.
Hey, nobody you want in this position any more than your pitcher. He wants to get on base for his team. South Australia's been knocking on that door. It's only a matter of time before they knock it down.
Well, this is the SA pitcher up to bat. Jack Bestgrove hit a home run yesterday in their game against WA, and
big hack right there. I think that's exactly what he was trying to do again.
Yeah, it was a 2-run shot, I've been told. So the big lefty swings lefty and pitches lefty.
Bestgrove had a good shot up the middle last at bat. He's hitting the ball hard right now.
Goes after that one as well.
Bestgrove showing maybe the South Australian approach is starting to work of wait on that ball a little bit more. Don't be out in front.
Well, as we continue this hashtag summer of softball, the under-17 girls will be back in action tomorrow night, SA versus WA. So we'll be bringing you this broadcast thanks to Spacequake Sports, and we're very lucky to have this live streaming coverage brought to you. Oh, Basgroves goes opposite field again. It just tails foul again.
This wind, without that wind, that would have been fair all day. That wind took it.
Got 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Basgrove, and he looks comfortable up there, doesn't he? He's all over Holiday at the moment, but the 3 pieces of the ball he have all gone foul, so needs to get the ball out in front this time.
I had a feeling that was coming.
Yeah, we haven't seen too many change-ups today, and can be used as a weapon, and if used sparingly, if you're not a master of the change-up and you use it sparingly, it can be handy in such a situation. Oh, drills this one back. Holiday ducking for his life as Basgrove rocks one up the middle and safely aboard at first. So the lead off on for South Australia, always a good sign.
These kids love their bat flips.
Let's watch the statewide super replay, and wow, that was close, and did give that a little bit of a flip, but again, that was pretty tame compared to the ones that we've seen earlier in today. So runner aboard. Here we go for James Goslet, second base player.
That ball was smoked, I do have to say.
Goslet gets a good piece of this ball. It's going to go out to center field, drop short, and a single to Goslet. Back-to-back shots for South Australia.
It's a great job by Basgrove getting out there, watching the ball, seeing if it is going to drop. You can't camp out by first base. Won't have enough time to get to second.
Goslet with a single. His Magpies teammates will be happy with that one. So good on you, James Goslet. He's aboard. He got hit in the arm earlier today in the game against Queensland, and that'll make the sting go away, that hit.
Buckskin getting in here. You can't even tell his pants are white anymore at this point of the game, James.
He's been making some good plays, and it's Buckskin. It's South Australia now that's on the aggression, and oh, this one gets away from both the shortstop and the third base. Maybe they were discussing who was going to get it. But
exactly. It looked like a little lack of communication. The wind didn't move the ball that much on that one.
Well, the wind is swirling, so that may have been something that one of the conditions to take into consideration. So Buckskin it is who gets a life, and he actually got aboard from that infield single. May have been slightly wild throw from the third base player in the first inning, but got aboard safely.
I think Buckskin's looking to get on top of this ball. He's been just under it this game. Get the top half of the ball, and we'll see a line drive out of him with the power he has.
Fouls this one off, so good aggressive hitting from Buckskin. That was on the outside edge, so protecting his zone as well. So Buckskin behind in the count, but he looks okay up there. There's 2 runners on. There's no outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. South Australia want to make a run at it. This could be a great opportunity. Buckskin gets after this one. It's a long ball out to left field. Getting under it is Harding, who takes a good catch. Basgrove has to go back to second. Goslet back to first. There, gee, that one nearly had it. Let's watch the statewide super replay.
He made a great adjustment on this throughout that bat. Popped up, fouled it off.
Great piece of the ball, but very well read from Harding at left field with those long locks and takes a good catch for Victoria. Well, this is Hayden Dabblestein now for SA. There's 1 out and 2 runners on. There's only 1 out. We know that it's only 1 out because it's just the 4th batter. Scoreboard says 2. That's why there's a little confusion. Oh, this one's way above a wild pitch from Holiday. That takes the force off and puts 2 runners in scoring position. Now Goslet on second and Basgrove on third.
Looks like luck is in South Australia's favor right now.
What happened then, Kim? Did the grip get away from him, or was it a...
I'm not sure. Based off his facial expression, it must have just slipped out.
Well, right back in there for a strike. So Holiday has had a pretty big workload. He pitched the last couple of innings for the Vicks in the game against WA. Then there was the delay in between the games, a 30-minute or so delay. So he's been pitching for quite a while now. We are in the bottom of the fourth. We've seen a few base runners. Haven't seen any action in the Victorian bullpen.
Yeah,
oh, there was
about
earlier.
About three innings ago there was early on, but I'm feeling for him. With this, it is getting a little chilly out here, so your fingers start to numb up a little bit. Your wrist doesn't work as well as you want it to, so that very well could have been the culprit for that pass ball there, or wild pitch, excuse me.
Well, the scoreboard's showing 18 degrees. The chill factor is probably what's got us here. When the sun goes down here at West Beach, it really drops away the temperature. And so, yeah, you're right. These boys would have been in the heat of the sun earlier during the day. Maybe they didn't pack their undershirts. None of them wearing one today as Dabblestein watches that one go past. Yeah, 18.8 degrees. Thank you, David Muggleton from Spacequake Sports, providing us with on-the-spot weather updates. We also had Tim Noonan from the Channel 7 News here tonight broadcasting the weather. Great take from Ferrero. That's a run-saving take from the catcher. Timeout called, so pitcher and catcher want to have a chat now.
Holiday's throwing with just a little bit more arm than he has earlier in the game.
He seems to be guiding it, doesn't he? Yeah.
When you throw with your arm, you start guiding it, and funny enough, when you guide the ball, that's actually when it gets away from you the most.
Well, full count now. Payoff pitch is low for a ball four.
Not quite sure if that was ball four or not, was he?
Just a dramatic pause from Dabblestein, just double checking, and a base on ball. So 4 batters. We've seen 2 singles to centre field, a deep fly ball to left field, and a base on ball. So South Australia very much in control in this bottom half of the 4th inning. One swing of the bat could change the complexion of the game and tie it up. Just guiding it in there now high, and he's taken the pace off the ball as well. This is a warning sign for the Victorian dugout. Can Holiday step up and get the Vicks out of trouble? Loaded bases with 1 out.
Kelly's being very patient up there. He's shaking his head. He knows what he's looking for.
Gets after it. Ground ball over to first. Got a slide there. That's a tag play. Beats the throw. Paps didn't slide. The bat was right on the line there. So Bestgrove scores on a ground out to first. So it was Alexander Pelly who gets the ground out to first. So a put out to first base player Tidy. Then fires at home to try to make that 3rd out.
Risky decision there by Bestgrove by not sliding, despite where the position of the bat was.
So 2 out now as Oliver Askew comes up to bat. He had a great piece of the ball. And then in the same play, the runner tried to take 2 bases and was thrown out by great backup from the Victorian defence. Again, starts high in the zone, and we've seen that from the last 3 batters now. Starts high in the zone and then grooves it back low into the zone. So let's see if Oliver Askew can jump on this pitch from Holiday. A bit of a change of pace, maybe. Just took a lot off that one.
He did.
2 balls.
Trying to keep him off balance because they're starting to figure him out now in this 4th inning.
Well, the runners are in scoring position and there's no force, so there is 2 out though. But Oliver Askew has got himself into a great count. 3 balls, 3-0 count, and will go to the top of the order if he can get aboard here.
Now, being ahead by 3 and 4 runs, at least in America, coaching-wise, James, would you be looking to get outs when there was 1 out in that situation, or trying to get that force at home? I'm a little intrigued by Tidy's choice to touch first base than that.
Any infield ground ball with loaded bases, you're always looking for that run to stop scoring, except for maybe a play up the middle or a hard shot to 3rd base, because you can probably play the double play then in that situation. Just a quick touch of the base and then fire it across to the next base.
Absolutely.
Over to first. But in that situation, I probably would have played home. And Oliver Askew will get aboard from a walk, loading the bases back up. We'll go back to the top of the order for South Australia and Caleb Zackley. Now, what about you, Kim? Would you have made that play? perhaps he had to turn as well, so that took a little bit of time as well. So time was against him as it was Bestgrove took off on the hit to right field. Or to the right side, I should say.
Right. As a coaching staff, I'd definitely be going home on that one, but it makes me wonder if Tidy just didn't know quite the situation at that point and then just went with his immediate reaction, which would be touching first and then going home. Either way, they did get another out to make it 2 outs for the inning, which being up by 3 runs is better than being down in the hole.
Well, back to the top for Caleb Zackley, who's got a great shot. This is going over the head of the centre fielder who was in close. He takes off. 2-run score. 3-run scores. A stand-up triple. Caleb Zackley, the lead off for South Australia, and the hometown boys are excited. They've tied up the game on a 4-run inning so far. Caleb Zackley, as we see Goslet cross the plate. As we see the next run across the plate, Dabblestein, and then the third runner, Oliver Askew, cross the plate. Well, the centre fielder probably, Reynolds, bit of a cardinal sin with 2 outs. He probably underestimated the power of Zackley.
Size does not always equal power.
And another shot up the middle, so a 5th run in the inning. Turner, who's been hit by pitch twice, gets after the first one, rocks it up the middle, just off the glove and out of reach of Cody Smith, who has stood up for the Victorians in this game.
Yes, on this replay right here, statewide super replay, Zackley's pumped as he crosses the plate, knowing how big he came up clutch for his team.
Well, we've seen 2 RBI shots in a row for South Australia. Sam Zweck now up to bat. Well, they are riding a wave at the moment, the SA boys.
This is where that play from Tidy comes back into play. If he had gone home on that quick ground ball to him, there could have been a chance for a double play and been out of this inning.
Yep. Well, South Australia leading this game 6 runs to 5. It is the first time they've had the lead in any game they've played so far in the tournament. So rightly so, they're up and about, the SA boys, in front of this home parochial crowd. Not to say Victoria don't have some great support. That we've seen some great support from each of the states this week so far in the tournament. As the umpire just doing a little bit of housekeeping, getting rid of a stray piece of paper, and I think I might be to blame for that one. That just got away from...
It's the wind. It's Mother Nature's fault.
Sam Zweck chops at this one, just goes over the top of the pitcher. It is a tough play, and he's out!
Does the classic lunge to first base, but I do believe the ball just beat him there.
Well, that man at second, Cody Smith, makes a great play. Statewide super replay. Zweck chops that ball just out of reach. He has to come and get it and go up the middle. Just missed it on the camera angle. Looked pretty tight. A bang-bang play, as we like to say here on Spacequake Sports. Well, that was a huge inning for South Australia. Put 5 runs on the board. For mine, probably kept the pitcher in just a little long, maybe 1 or 2 batters, and it was Caleb Zackley with an RBI triple, and then Callum Turner, RBI single, but great batting from Bestgrove, a single, Goslet a single, base on balls from Dabblestein and Oliver Askew, and then no doubt watching from all around Australia this hashtag summer of softball. Very special thanks to Spacequake Sports. And now aren't the Vics up and about? You can hear from the dugout that oi call.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oh, up and in. We got some looks being exchanged.
Bestgrove throws high and ball one to hit it. Miles Harding, the left fielder, took a good catch in the last inning. Well, Cuba bucks in. It was a deep fly ball to left field.
Ooh, still sticking in the inside corner.
Well,
I approve of this game plan. He's been going outside most of the game, and they've been going with it. Let's see if they can handle and turn on the inside pitch, choking up on the bat.
Great little plan they have here because he is right on that line with his back foot. 3 ball, so well done for the Victorian leadoff in this hitting innings. Mile Harding, that's exactly what you want after you give up 5. You want your leadoff for the next inning to go deep in the count.
Dare I say, Besgrove's throwing even a little bit harder. I think he has some adrenaline going in those veins.
Yeah, Besgrove is definitely dialed in here. He's firing it in hard, and interestingly enough, Harding swings on that 3-0 pitch and goes after this one. Buckskin has to come get it, fires it across for the out. So 2 close bang plays, 1 for SA, 1 for Victoria. And you know what? I think umpire Tro at first base has got them both right on both occasions.
First base coach wasn't too happy with that one. He thought it went Victoria's way. However, Trowell disagreed.
Well, great play from Cooper Buckskin for the SA team. Didn't come and over-attack it, so didn't want to overrun it. Got a good glove to the ball and then fired it across to first in time. Oh, this one inside, and gee, Holiday actually said something then to the pitcher. I'm not too sure if he's unhappy with that or not, but this left-handed pitcher has got a good curve and a good rise, and I haven't seen any ill intent from either side yet. I mean, Holiday did hit the same batter twice, but no words were really exchanged. There was a little emotion shown from Turner. That one is a called strike. So there is a little bit of mind games coming into this, a little bit of emotion probably as the game gets a little tighter. And
Holiday didn't even take his stride on that last pitch. I think he's expecting it up and in again.
Crushes this one towards center field. That man at center field though, Caleb Zackley, the man of the moment. He's taken some great catches out there at center field, and he hit that triple out there last inning as well. 3 RBIs from that triple, clearing the bases.
He did his job. That was a great piece. Couldn't ask for any better hitting from Holiday. Just in the right space, the right time out there in center.
Well, the 3rd catch for Zackley, and he's made up some ground out there tonight. And probably the shortest player in the SA team, but man, has he got some game about him. He gets bat to ball, he can run the bases, he makes up some good range in the field, so perhaps one to watch.
He is small but mighty, that is for sure. He is small but mighty out there. He's having a big impact for his team tonight. Who do we have coming in? We have Bonner coming in for Ferraro.
Well, we saw him as a courtesy runner earlier in the game, and that's not a substitution, so he can come in, and this time he does sub in for the catcher Ferrero, who's hit by a pitch for Bonner, and the hand goes up straight away from the pitcher. No intent there, but the umpire does come out just to have a bit of a say, but Bonner wore that one and maybe even gave a bit of a look to the pitcher, but you could tell straight away that that was accidental.
The tension is palpable right now. That is for sure. We have a timeout being called by South Australia. We have a couple players outside the dugout for Victoria.
No, that's ridiculous. You can get tossed from the game for coming out of the dugout, so the Vic boys just better be careful, and they should be back in their dugout. But Coach Kelvin Williams just coming out, perhaps just to settle it down just a little bit so far in this game. We've seen Victoria jump out 2 runs in the first, and then another 3 runs over the next couple of innings. South Australia scored in the second, and then that massive 5 spot on the board come off the bats for some great hitting. So let's not tarnish this game, boys. Let's see some good, clean softball. You can tell there's some emotion in there, but nothing wrong with some good, hard softball. But let's not take it too far, boys. Here we go. Back to the action.
Absolutely, tidy stepping into the box here. Let's see if we can make up for that interesting decision you had at first base earlier.
Well, we've got 2 out. and up to bat is first base, Nathan Tidy.
It is getting loud in the dugout.
As Bestgrove tries to get a low lifter in there, but it didn't kick this time round. So ball 1 to Tidy. 2 outs with a runner on first. That one is a called strike, and you can hear it, can't you? Even though we're wearing microphones, our headsets do cut out a lot of the noise, but
not this noise. Oi, oi, oi. And that's missed.
Gets
big
away
hop.
from the
Is he going to
catcher.
take 3?
Well, he does jump out, threatening to take third base, but we'll see Bono just stand up safely at second base, and now runner in scoring position.
Let's see how South Australia handles this pressure. They quickly jumped out and got the lead. Can they keep it?
That's a great point, Kim, because like I said, they haven't held the lead in any game that they've played so far this tournament, and it's going to take a little bit extra to hold on tight, because Victoria right up for the fight here. There's plenty happening in this game, and as we see, a big cut from Nathan Tidy. He'll go behind, or even in the count now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's 2 out. There's a runner at 2, and we're in the top of the 5th inning.
This is where experience comes into play, James, is when you have a little bit of an older team, a team that's played together for a while. They have the ability to stay relaxed in the situation when the pressure is on, when there's runners in scoring position. Maybe we should just let the dugout commentate for us. They're making plenty of noise.
Oh, another hit by pitch. And Bestgrove pleading his case here. He suggested that the hands were over the plate, and I'm not sure what the plate umpire's saying here. You can clearly see that the intent's not there.
The intent is not there, that is clear.
He's throwing inside, but the kid's throwing hard. He's throwing his rise balls and his curveballs, which is obviously his best pitch. Umpire can't take away his pitch.
No, he cannot.
And I think there might be a slight overreaction here, because you can tell there is a little bit of fire in the game, and the umpire is trying to get control of it. So credit to her for that. She goes over to the third base dugout just to have a word to the head coach. But I can't see anything wrong with what's happening out in the diamond at the moment. I don't want to see batters getting hit. And you're giving me a nod of approval there.
Yeah, neither do I, and especially in this situation, and as competitive as Bestgrove is and appears, being up by only 1 run, you don't want to put any more runners on base than you have to. So the intent is most definitely not there.
Well, at least the Vic boys didn't come out the dugout that time, so credit to those boys as well. So Miller back up to bat.
And the oi is getting louder, however.
We saw him come in to replace Damien French, and he came up with the goods with an RBI double to right field for his first turn at bat, and now he's got 2 runners on. So the Vic boys will be definitely wanting to see Miller score again here, and he crushes this one, but goes foul, and the aggressive intent from the Vics is back as they started the game.
SA's best bet right now is getting Miller out. I don't think they want to see Smith come up to bat again with his 2 doubles on the night.
That one's in there on the outside edge for a called strike. So Miller down in the count, 0-2. Now, this inning has gone on for a little bit. We saw 2 quick outs, but then the next 2 batters had reasonably, well, not long at bats, but like they went deep in the count, and then both hit by pitch. So
it was a great pitch on an 0-2.
Few timeouts as well. So only the 5th batter of the inning, 0-2 pitch, low lifter. So we see Bestgrove keeps going back to that rise ball. Has he got another trick? Miller just gets his hands to the ball, chops it, foul, staying alive in the count, protecting the outside edge.
That's what you want to see from Miller, just protecting until you find the pitcher make a mistake in this scenario. Foul it off, and hope for him to bring one over the middle that you can really connect with.
Well, we've seen 2 days of action here at the Escalating and Arthur Alsop Shields, and we've seen 2 great games. Great pitch, just trying to tempt Miller to protect the zone, get him to chase a pitch just outside the edge, and we got a 2-2 count. Once again, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 runners on, just off the edge, and Miller with the great eyes.
Basgrove wanted it. Here's going to be the payoff pitch for sure. Make it or break it on this one.
Well, with full count and 2 outs, the runners will go on the pitch. Fouls this one off, so plenty happening here at West Beach. Great action. SA versus Victoria. Been a great rivalry over the years between SA and Victoria. We've seen some big names come up against one another. We saw Scott Radigan come up against Todd Grego one year, and we saw Chris Kiefel firing him in there for the Vics and dominating performances in the early 2000s against South Australia. And just 2 years ago, the Open Men's had their very first victory over Victorian in Open Men's competition. 2016 Open Men's National Championships, the John Reed Shield. And Jared Chops Farrell led the SA boys in that game. And so great history and great rivalry between these two states. Great piece of the ball from Miller, crushes this one to centre field. The runners were going on the pitch and Zackley had to come up. What a great throw from centre field. One bouncing into Pelly will stop that second run from scoring. He had his work cut out for him. Statewide Super Replay will show runners go. Well, they didn't really take off on the pitch, but the runner from second was always going to score. Great movement from centre field and Zackley. Well done.
Zackley's doing it for his team yet again with a solid throw to prevent that second run from scoring there.
It was Jordan Miller doing it for his team again. Another RBI double from Miller. Ties up the ball game.
That was a great at bat by Miller.
Good play from Basgrove.
Almost did the splits there, but he kept his composure and got a great throw off to first base.
And that was a great play, and like you said, great composure, because he may have rushed that because he had the switch, he didn't have his footing, and makes that throw over for the third out. So what a great inning there. That run doesn't count because it was the fourth, so it's still 6-all. And what a great inning. So plenty happening here. We've seen lots of runs scored in this game. Very exciting softball. And
what a game, James.
What's going to be interesting is that the leadoff batter for South Australia is pitcher Jack Basgrove, and he did get a hit the last time up to bat and started that 5-run inning for the SA boys. And let's see what happens here.
Let us see. I am anxious. I'm feeling the tension.
Yeah,
the excitement is in the air. Yeah. I can feel it.
Oh, I love this game.
New pitcher. We got a new pitcher in the game.
We do. Let's get the changes. Number 6 has come in. Purtell, the pitcher for Victoria. I catch the first name there. It's Tynan Purtell.
Tynan, that's original. Looks like Holiday's still staying in the game as well.
Just checking my book here just to make sure that it is Tynan Purtell pitching. Another one with the long locks here, Kim. I know you're a fan, and he said Holiday staying in the game. Where has he gone into? We've seen a re-entry for the catcher as well. Ferrero's
Holiday
back in the game.
looked like he was, but looks like the coach sent him back in. It's a tough player to take out of your lineup, though. He's done really well for Victoria tonight.
He's threatened with the bat as well. He's got the ball into play all 3 times. He's been up to bat, forcing errors from both second and shortstop, and then had that long fly ball to centre field for his last turn at bat. So you're right, maybe we might see him back in the game, re-entered, but not at this stage, because Tynan Purtell.
Righty versus lefty, here we go. And is it gonna drop?
Great catch at centre field. We thought it might have dropped in. Jared Reynolds out at centre field for Victoria, getting the job done. Jack Basgrove, probably a little eager here, gets out and, he jammed him.
If there is such thing as a ball flip, I think center field just did that.
Well, we've seen a ball flip. James Goslett now for the SA team. Got a single last time up to bat, has an open stance, and watches that one. float down the middle. Was that, did you see a bit of spin on that one? Was that curve maybe, or a low rise maybe?
I don't think he quite has that spin breaking yet, but it looked like possibly a low rise.
High for a ball, a little bit more on that one. So definitely a different pitch to the first one, and we now see 1 ball and 1 strike.
I appreciate this look he has going on. It's a bit of a wild thing look with the glasses. What do you say?
Glasses and the long hair. Goslet has a big cut at that one, so...
That popped the glove.
Yeah, just smacked into the glove as well. Love that sound. Well, James Goslet is just down in the count slightly here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He did get after a good pitch. High for ball 2, so good composure here from Goslet. He hasn't swung at any bad pitches. At a big cut and big swing and a miss on that one. That second strike. Watch the first one go by. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gets a great piece of the ball and gets past the left fielder. Harding just misfields the ball. It goes to the fence, and Goslet stands up at second. Runner in scoring position for South Australia.
Coach was waving Goslet to third, but I don't think Goslet wanted to go, and I think it's a good decision that he didn't.
Well, James Goslet got all of that, and Harding was going hard for the ball. It was going to drop short of him. He raced back to get it in time to reduce the damage to a double. So South Australia back in the action. Double to Goslet, second hit of the game.
Buckskin's in. I think he's slowly becoming my favorite. I think he's a fan favorite as well. But he gets into that box of the meeting. He has a smile on his face, and he looks like he is enjoying the game.
His dad's a former AFL star, so he's got some sporting pedigree. Crushes this one to the left side. Gee, the confidence of the SA boys is right up there, isn't it? I haven't seen them swing like this so far this tournament, and they are up for the challenge.
Absolutely. Just needs to wait on the ball just a bit more with the change in pitchers. He needs to make an adjustment up to bat, but I think he's ready to connect with one.
Okay, 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, 1 runner on second base. That's James Goslet after his hit to left field.
Just missed. Just missed. Purtrell really wanted that one.
Well, pitcher and catcher both thought it was close. The batter was moving out of the way, so plenty happening.
A lot going on for Bell Chambers back there.
Change up.
Beautiful pitch. That's my pitch, James. Well, goodness, does it change a game? Does it change an at bat?
Maybe. Pitcher appreciation going on to my left as Buckskin goes 2-2 in the count. Low for ball 3. You're going to go back to the change-up?
A little grunt on that. I absolutely would. I'm fangirling over that change-up right now.
All right, well, payoff pitch with a runner in scoring position. Cuba Buckskin settles into the box as Purtell goes into his motion. Great shot from Buckskin, a single to left field. Goslet advances. There's a fumble at left field, so Buckskin is going to take that extra base on the slight fumble, and 2 runners in scoring position now for South Australia, and brings up to bat Hayden Dabblestein. Wow, this game has had the lot. This has been an awesome game.
Absolutely. Buckskin had such a great at-bat there. Fouling off, being super ahead of it, taking that change-up, seeing what Purtrell has to offer, and then still managing to come up with a solid line drive for his team.
All right, well, we're just going to take a slight break here, a short timeout, as Coach Holiday for Victoria comes out just to have a word to the umpire, just asking a question. I haven't seen any changes in the field just yet.
Buckskin's over there at third base, had to take his helmet off. He wants to show off those Herbal Essences locks.
It's a good kid as well. Look at that smile. It's just
lights. It's contagious, isn't it, man? He makes me want to smile, which I am, in case you guys are curious.
Can we listen in here on what the umpire's saying? (6-7).
defensive changes.
6 to 7, 7 to 8. So we're going to see the shortstop go to left field. We're going to see left field go to center field, and we're going to see center field come across to third base, and third base over to shortstop. So, well.
What do you make of that, James?
Well,
Are they putting in a stronger defense because of how much the ball's getting hit right now, or is it based off of the pitcher?
Sam Seach was playing shortstop last game, so maybe we're seeing just an adjustment in the field. So Dabblestein leaves that one alone for ball one, and Purtell has his work cut out for him because all three batters so far have gone to the outfield. A fly ball to centre and two other hits have come to the left side for South Australia, and James Goslet and Cuba Buckskin evening up the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. With the 1 out, 2 runners in scoring position. The game is tied here, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6 runs apiece in the bottom of the 5th. Pick-off attempt here, but Goslet not far enough off the base.
Well done by Ferraro there. Nice inside pitch, clears his lane, gets that throw down to third, but Goslet was ready.
In the early game against Western Australia, he fired a cannon over to second base. So watch out, SA runners, because this guy has an arm on him. So Dabblestein, a big swing and a miss for strike 2.
Dabblestein needs to shorten up in this scenario and just punch it back up the middle. Anything to the green is going to score Buckskin for sure. Yeah,
get the ball into play. Does shorten up in the grip, and that one is right down the middle. Dabblestein is frozen in the box, and he goes down looking for the second out. So still 2 runners on board for South Australia. Pelly, the catcher, had an RBI single to right field and a pretty hard shot to first base. We saw that fielder's choice from first base for Victoria last inning. And you mentioned it also in the call. He could have played home, but instead he played first to make sure he got the out. That's Nathan Tidy at first for Victoria. So right side hitter Pelly. Let's see if he can get the ball into play. Low for a ball. 2 balls.
2. Count is in Pelly's favor right now. Let's see what he could do with it. Pressure's on. Were you the type of player that loved the pressure, James, or did you avoid it? Actually, not was. You are still currently a player. You're actually going to be heading off to your own nationals next week.
Yep, one more time maybe. And as Pelly watches this one, gives it a nod as it crosses the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike. I don't know if I'd thrive off the pressure, but do enjoy the competition. So always good to come up against Australia's best. Pelly gets this one, chops it to second base. What a great play. That man again, that second base is off the base. And Cuba Buckskin's going to score while first base player Tidy takes his eye off. 2 runs scores, a 2-run lead. Pelly hits that ball up the middle. That man again, Cody Smith, a great play up the middle, throws the ball across, takes Tidy off first base, and he has to recover in time. But he couldn't quite reach.
Game-changing play right here. Game-changing call, should I say. That is a tough. If softball did have instant replay, I think I'd be calling one right now if I was Team Victoria.
Well, we go to Oliver Askew now, who had an infield single and a walk so far in this game, and 2 RBIs from that infield single to second base for Pelly, and catcher speed up comes in, and 60 is Dabblestein. So the last out comes in to run. Well, South Australia's only gone to the bench once so far, and that is Oliver Askew. Came in for Adam Davey very early in the game. So coaching move has paid off so far, because Askew's been great in the outfield at right field for SA and on base 2 out of 2 times so far.
Absolutely. Askew stayed ready on the bench, and he was prepared for when the coach called on him. Great movement there from Purtell. Nice floaty rise ball. Dabblestein with the interesting tick up there at first. He's into his backside and the lunge over there.
Purtell deals, and Askew has patiently been waiting here for his pitch. So 2 balls and 2 strikes now with 2 out. Dabblestein, the courtesy runner, on first. Low for ball 3. So we've actually seen this a little bit from Askew. Definitely a patient batter, likes to go deep in the count. He's seen a lot of pitches for his 3 turns at bat so far.
Petrella keeps missing low and inside, and it looks almost like what you would call a screw and a drop inside.
Low for ball 4, so consecutive walks for Askew. So 2 walks for that young man and 2 runners aboard. We're going to go back to the top. Here he comes, Caleb Zackley.
Exactly.
And we'll just make a correction on the score. It is 8 runs to 6 in favour of SA.
Small but mighty. He's getting in the box with a little swag this at bat.
Purtell into his motion, low for a ball. So 2-run lead to South Australia, and Zackley hit a 3-run triple last inning for the SA team.
Dun-na-na, dun-na-na.
That one's there, pops up though. Who's got it? Catcher's calling for it. He gets under it and makes a good catch. Takes a second grab at that one, but does take a good catch. So Ferrero leading as a catcher should do for the Victorians, but South Australia have done the damage. Right up for the challenge. They respond to Victoria's 1 run in the top of the 5th, scoring 2 in the bottom of the 5th, and that is their lead, 8 runs to 6. What a game, Kim.
Back and forth. Nothing I'd like to see more.
Well,
up, down, tied, up, down.
What has this game got left in it, Kim? We started talking predictions around about this time last night when Victoria had a 1-run-to-0 lead. They ended up winning the game 3 runs to 1. We were both completely wrong about tiebreakers, but after we got a bit of a more of a read of how well in a statewide super player of the game, statewide super performance from that pitcher, you know, she was just dominant, and it's clear now in hindsight that Victoria were always going to win that game, the way that the SA girls were swinging hard for every pitch, and the way that name escapes me. That's okay. Great performance last night. So
Bridie Murphy?
Bridie Murphy, yeah.
Okay.
Summer of Mercy Murphy.
Well, with the meat of the lineup coming up right now, I would put my money on Victoria tying this back up, I do have to say.
Yeah, well, never out of it, are you, in this funny game that we call softball? It's a big swing from Sam Seach. He's moved back over to shortstop, number 71 for the Big V, and they're chasing 2, so he'll be hoping to get a leadoff runner aboard for his team. And Bestgrove going back to work with those spinners that he's got, some curves and some rises. And
the biggest thing Victoria can do is stay in their lane. They don't need to score 2 runs with 1 out. They just need to chip away just like that as he heads to second base.
Ground ball over. Yeah, be careful throwing that ball around the diamond as well. So we saw a ground ball to Murphy, did very well to go off to his backhand side, make that play. Tried to toss it over to the moving, running second base player in Goslett, but unfortunately it was just out of his reach. So runner aboard. Would you call that an infield single? Perhaps an error to the defense?
Unfortunately, with my scoring expertise, I don't think you can pinpoint an error on anybody on that. It's unfortunately more of a mental error of lack of communication on the defensive part, an error, but not in the scorebook.
Let's give him an infield single to first, and Reynolds Gets a shot out to the right side and it just
that.
drops in front of Askew. Now, didn't want to take any chances and let the ball go behind him, but it had a little bit of side spin about it, and it was always going to hold up in this very soft outfield grass. It's very luscious and green here at West Beach, and
we've seen so many hits. I think that's about the 5th hit that's dropped right in the exact area tonight.
Well, let's look at how deep the other outfielders are fielding at the moment. Perhaps the right field is a little shallow for this left-handed batter as he attempts a running bunt. This is Ethan Lewis, who's had an infield single fly out to centre field, and that is why Zackley is so deep. And also a ground out back to the pitcher. So consecutive hits to start off this inning for Victoria. So they're threatening. Runners at the corners. Lewis fake bunts and attempts another bunt. So haven't seen too many bunt attempts in this game. And then as soon as we see a couple of runners on base, they're chasing a couple of runs.
This is a big difference between softball and baseball. You have to be able to complete your short game. Lewis needs to get that bat a little bit more out in front to get that ball.
Great hands and a great piece of the ball. This is going into the outfield alley. Zackley has to get to the ball and he tries to pivot home. Cutoff has to be made, leaving third base open. 2 runs will cross the plate and tie the game.
Well, not to toot my own horn, but Victoria just tied it up.
Well,
they have the energy. Both these teams do. It's so exciting to watch, but I don't think he wanted to bunt in that scenario. I think Lewis wanted to do exactly what he did and get himself 2 RBI.
Harding up to bat, no outs, runner on second, and no activity in the South Australian bullpen, which means that Bestgrove's got to go the distance. He's got to dig deep for the South Australian team here and get a couple of cheaps out. The score is tied. It's 8 runs all. High for a ball, and
he keeps throwing harder. Where is he getting it from, James?
Well, he has dug deep. I just asked him to see what he has left in the tank. Scores are tied, 8 runs all, and Bestgrove gets this one just a little up, and Harding chops this one foul.
Plate umpire Bill Chambers keeps having to go back for these foul balls. We've had tons of them this game. When you're throwing as hard as Bestgrove is, it's bound to happen. Victoria back with their oi, oi, oi.
Another foul ball, and first base Turner.
Spider-Man.
He was never going to get to that one, but didn't give up.
He made it look good, though. Look good, feel good, play good, James.
Great edge, but not called. Look at the smile on the batter. He knows he got away from that. And a delayed steal from the runner on third. Ethan Lewis just cheekily takes that base as the South Australian defense is still scratching their head on why that wasn't a called strike. But
that delayed steal, it is so lethal when the defensive team isn't paying attention. It's actually something most coaches practice in the U.S. is being prepared and staying alert throughout the entire game for that delayed steal.
2 balls and 2 strikes. There are no outs. Runner is on third, so Victoria best placed to take the lead in this game with that runner on third. Top of the 6th. Miles Harding up to bat. High for a ball, and don't throw the ball around. That's only 3 balls. Watch that runner on third. Just ahead of himself there. He got away with that strike that may have clipped the edge, may or may not have clipped the edge, and maybe thought it was worth 2 balls, but full count.
Possibly. Harding gave him a little look as he walked to first base there.
Gets this one up the middle. Great play from Buckskin, who fires it across for the out, but the run does score. Harding's happy with that because the run scores, and Turner on first base keeps on going. Umpire on first base is asking to speak to a player now. Obviously some exchanges of word And this is probably what Turner was talking about with the plate umpire before, that perhaps he's retaliating. It's coming from that first base dugout. So just a warning issued to the Victorian bench, and Victoria do go ahead. It's 9 runs to 8 now with that RBI ground out.
Oh. Holiday looks like he is up to bat. So he did go back in the dugout last inning after he got taken out from pitching, but looks like he is going to get his at bat in.
Well, does this mean that he's going to come back into pitch? Because he did come out of the game.
Honestly, that
and there's no DP
terrible...
there wasn't a DP to start the game either. So
correct, he'd be going back in.
He's been re-entered.
I approve of that move over there by the Victorian coaching staff. Purtrell, no offense to him, but Holiday really had South Australia's number until Purtrell came in.
Well, Holiday gave up 5 in the 4th. Purtrell gave up 2 in the 5th, so maybe just a little bit of an opportunity to give him a bit of a rest, give him a bit of spell, because like I mentioned earlier in the call, he did finish the last game, so he has pitched a fair bit this evening, and now up to bat. So obviously the choice of batters takes precedence over the choice of pitchers, not unless they've had someone warming up for a third pitcher in the game, but
I haven't seen anybody.
Holiday's gone to 3 balls, so way ahead of the count. Look how high his hands are on the barrel of that bat.
And you can never underestimate how competitive a person is, though, so maybe the Victorian coaching staff knows a little bit something more than we do back here behind home plate.
Three and 1, and crushes this one opposite field, but it's foul, and that takes the count full now for Holiday. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Swing and a foul ball, so
that's a pretty swing right there, James.
This battle between the 2 pitchers has been going on all game, because Bestgrove has got a hit against Holiday, and Holiday has some good pieces of the ball. This one just out of reach for Zachary, and Holiday does get his hit, so that battle continues.
He's lived there all game. He just goes up the middle, line drive, but Zachary unfortunately could not get to that one that time.
Yep, Zachary is pretty quick, but not quite quick enough. So a couple of those outfield hits just dropping short of the fielders yet again. So perhaps they do need to come in a little, but they don't want to let the ball go over the head. Here we go back to the catcher, Ferrero. He was hit by a pitch on his second turn at bat, and then there was a pinch hitter come in. I think that was Bonner from memory, who also had a hit by pitch, but Ferrero came back into the game, re-entered to catch, swing and a miss. He had a strikeout in the first inning as well. So another battle of the batteries.
Bestgrove, hats off to him. He is still pitching great, having a lot of movement on his ball, despite this being the 6th inning.
Just struggling a little bit on this occasion, the big lefty. He's only 15 years of age and 2 balls and 1 strike. Gets a good piece of this ball. Ferrero, he's watching this. He's not on his bike.
Up.
Does tag up.
Off.
Zachary did have to go around. He wasn't on his strike. He's called out for leaving the base early.
Wow, huge.
Double play on the runner leaving the base early, and both Holiday, the runner, asking the question, and Holiday, the coach, asking the question. And South Australia get out of trouble there.
Third base umpire Joel Grimes, confident in his call.
Johnny on the spot and makes a good call. Well, a lucky call, a fortunate call for South Australia, and the 3rd out of the inning. So good piece of the ball from Ferrero, a fly ball to centre field, but a double play on the runner leaving the base early. Is it a double play? It's a peel play, so not quite a double. Oh, well, it is all happening in this game, Kim. Victoria take the lead again. By
Holiday
scoring
is going
3.
to the mound.
Yep, he has to come back in because he was re-entered, so he probably hasn't pitched. He came out of the game.
Has to have some vengeance on his mind after that call.
So
shaking his head, he did not believe that he was out.
So bottom of the 4th inning was the last time he pitched. We went through the top of their 5th, which was a pretty long inning because there was a couple of timeouts there. Then we had the South Australian inning of two runs, which is also a long inning. I think there was 7 batters. And then that Victorian batting innings of 3 runs. So he probably hasn't pitched in about 25, 30 minutes. So he's just had, did he have any warm-ups then as well? So
hey, it could go either way. At his age, I could have pitched without any warming up immediately. But it is a little bit chilly out there. Like, it could go either way. Be enough ice for his arm to chill it down a little bit.
Well, Turner's up to bat, and Holiday's hit him twice already this game. This one called strike.
That's always a tough one when the catcher misses it, but it's a called strike.
Oh.
That's always tough. It makes the umpire look a little bit crazy, but that was a strike.
Most of the time on a called strike when the catcher drops it, it just drops to the ground. This one went to the back net, so very close. And batter Turner asked the question. Great catch, another play at second base from Cody Smith. Well,
ice cream cone catch there, just into the basket of his glove.
He has been right on his game today, Cody Smith at second base. He's contributed with the bat as well. He's scored twice for his team. He'll be up to bat 3rd in the top of the 7th inning. He's had a game. Well, let's go to the 3-hitter, Sam Zweck for SA. That one bounces off the plate for ball 1.
It does look like Holiday is a little bit tired, but he's doing what his coach asked of him. Back in the game for Victoria.
Oh, bit of a check swing. Umpire just double checks, and yes, he did go through, or his hands did break. He didn't go fully through, didn't follow through on the swing, but the hands did break, and it's a 1 ball and 1 strike count. This one's closer, and Zweck swing and a miss on the down ball on the outside edge. So young Zweck really needs to keep his eye on the ball and focus here. He does make an adjustment on the grip of the bat, comes up the grip a little bit. We see Ferrero move inside a little bit, but has to reach out there to take that ball on the outside edge.
Holiday just missing his spot there. Catcher was setting up inside and ball went out. That's always tough for the umpire to call. Would have been a strike otherwise.
Zweck does a good piece of the ball, but that man, Cody Smith at second base. Zweck grounds out to Cody for the second. That's the 3rd time that Smith has had Zweck in the game. So really standing up for the Victorian defense is Cody Smith. He's had a bunch of plays and keeps singing his praises. Here we go. We're back to Bestgrove, the pitcher for South Australia.
Cody Smith has very much a baseball-esque aura about him over at second base. Good hands and very smooth out there defensively.
Yeah, high for a ball for Bestgrove. Yeah, that's a good point you raised there. He does look like a baller, that's for sure. He's got that classic stance and moves into position very well. He starts low to the ground, and
see how deep he plays as well. He plays on the grass almost all the time, give himself a good amount of range as opposed to shortstop.
Move back slightly for this batter, the left-hander who can swing the bat pretty hard. Outside edge is not called. Ferrero is getting some instruction here from the dugout, 3 balls, and the instruction was don't throw a strike. And it is in the dirt, so Bestgrove aboard. Will we see a pinch runner, maybe?
I would hope so in this scenario.
Well, they can go to the dugout. They've still got 4 other guys, so here we go.
Very interesting choice to walked Bestgrove in that situation.
James Goslett has a couple of hits so far in the game, and he will be high in confidence as he leaves that one alone. That's high for a ball, ball one. Gets a signal from coach Kelvin Williams, who does the look away signal on that occasion. Did not make eye contact with his batter at all with that signal. Low for a ball.
Ooh,
Called
not what
strike.
Goslett wanted to see right there. He didn't like that one, James.
No, well, it fooled me as well. The call from umpire Bell Chambers, and even the pitcher asking for the count there. 1 ball, 1 strike. High for ball 2.
How many freebies per game does the umpire get, James?
If nobody is perfect, as we're all human. So,
Completely.
you know, it's, as long as it's not influencing the game, you know, you can let them get away with a couple. This is a national championship after all, so
Indeed.
we're hopeful that we've got the best umpires out there. And from what I've seen so far, Kim, we haven't really noticed the umpires, which is a great sign of a good umpire.
Indeed, it is.
Another called strike, so that one probably a little closer, but Goslett shouldn't have been taking chances there.
No, not at all.
3 balls and 2 strikes.
Umpiring is definitely one job I could never do. Hats off to them.
High for a ball. That's a punch out from Bell Chambers. Gee, Goslett didn't take his bat off his shoulder that entire turn at bat, and you asked for how many freebies, Kim, and you know, you don't want to give too many away, but I think Victoria got away with a couple in that one turn at bat, so denying South Australia in the 6th inning. Victoria hold on to that 1-run lead. 9 runs to 8. Wow, this game has gone the distance, so good on both teams who, as I mentioned at the start of the call, neither of them have a win at the moment, so both 0-3, so they've both got so much to play for in this game.
One of them is going to come out with a win, though. Bestgrove's still in there, throwing the heat, throwing the rise as he warms up. We have first baseman Tidy, number 75, stepping in the box to lead off the 7th and final inning here for Victoria. That is, if South Australia doesn't tie it up at the bottom.
Yeah, well, you never know in this game. It's had it all. And the SA team will first need to hold Victoria. And up to bat is the first base player, Nathan Tidy, who gets up to this first pitch. James Goslett takes a hard, high, chopping ball, face height, and looks the ball in the eye, takes it well, and gets it across to Turner at first for the first out. 1 pitch, 1 out.
That's a pitcher's dream right there. Technically 3 pitches, 3 outs, but I think Bestgrove will take it, get his team in and off the field as quick as he can. And she calls that low strike again, James. Batter shaking his head, didn't like that one.
Okay, so she's called it for both teams now, so you could probably let her get away with the pitches from the previous inning. See if she keeps the strike zone there. That's the consistency's the key.
It is.
Well,
My theory is her legs are getting a little tired, therefore her viewpoint's a little bit more bird's eye from the top down.
yeah. And umpire Bell Chambers just comes over to visit. There was probably a tablecloth, I think, just hanging over the edge there. Oh-2 on Miller. Swing and a miss.
Great
Strike
pitch.
out.
Check out that movement.
Well, I've got to say that the coaching decision from Holiday to bring in Miller, Jordan Miller came in, he's had 2 doubles, both RBI shots. That is a massive out for SA and a good strikeout, huge strikeout for Bestgrove. Now, we're going to go back to the very top of the order and Cody Smith, who has been outstanding at second base.
He's had a heck of a game.
Started out the game on fire with the bat as well. Got on twice, 2 runs, but Bestgrove has got the better of him in the last 2 turns about with a strikeout and a ground out back to the pitcher. Outside edge for a strike.
5th at bat. Let's see who's going to win it.
5th time through the order for Bestgrove, and he's still dialing it in there. Took a little off that one.
Yeah, he did. I think that's the first off speed I've seen in the game, James.
1 ball,
Was
1
it on
strike.
purpose, though?
Well, maybe.
Was it on purpose?
Maybe a good time to bring it in. Hey, just
out
take a
the
look
fans.
down the line, the right field line. There is massive amount of fans watching this game from all angles. So great crowds here for both the Esther Deason and Arthur Alsop Shields. Just a reminder, we'll be back here at 8 p.m. for the SAWA girls game. So looking forward to having your company yet again as Smith takes a cut at that one, fouling it off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Statewide Super, MC Sportswear and MK Services SA, our broadcast partners, and we thank them very much, as well as Spacequake Sports, Softball Australia and Softball SA for bringing you this live action as Smith fouls this one off and out of reach for both Pelly and Turner for SA.
Good hustle by both boys.
Well, the scoreboard tells me that we're down to about 16 degrees, so it's dropped about 14 degrees over the last hour and a half. Well, 2 hours. The game started just after 8 o'clock, so great entertainment, guys, and thanks for sticking with us with the broadcast as well. We love getting your comments. Don't forget to hashtag Summer of Softball. And here we go, the battle. Turner, oh sorry, Bestgrove. It goes across to shortstop for the out. So
there's a freebie for the first base umpire.
Smith
there,
asking the
James.
question. And Buckskin makes another great play. Geez, he's been great at shortstop tonight.
I think he's saying that it hit his hand. I'd be arguing more about the safe and the out call, but I believe he took that off the hand.
Even if it
It's
hits
still
him in the
part of the
hand
bat,
when he
though.
swings the bat, yeah, if he swings the bat, it can hit him in the head and it'll still be a strike if he
Correct.
swings the bat.
So I'm not sure what his argument is there unless he hasn't had a go at the rule book before.
Well, if it's as bad as what he's making it out to be, that could be a big hole in the Victorian defence, because he's been a standout player for him at second base. So hopefully for Cody Smith, he's okay. The Vic boys definitely looking over to him as they group up and huddle.
Yeah, having a bit of a longer chat than they normally do.
He's okay. He's got his glove. So great news for Cody Smith and Victoria, as he will, looks like his throwing hand actually. So his glove will still work, which has been on fire tonight. So Holiday's going to take back to the strike, and that man Cuba Buckskin is going to lead things off for South Australia. He has been in the action at shortstop. He's made some good contact with the ball. A ground ball to third base, which he arrived safely at first from just a little bit of a wild throw maybe, and then long fly ball to left field, which was caught, and then he hit that single. Scored a run as well, and has been one of the key performers for South Australia. And Victoria just taking the time.
Just look at him. He absolutely lives to be in that box and on that field, James.
Yeah, he's loving it at the moment, and so are we. Great action here as Holiday goes low, and that low strike is called again.
It's being consistently called in these later innings.
Well,
little change in zones
last
for
few
Bill
innings,
Chambers.
I think that one was the lowest. Buckskin gets a good piece of the ball over to shortstop, and a great throw from Sam Siege, the Victorian shortstop. Gets it in time, so Buckskin is retired for the first out. Dabblestein now for South Australia up to bat. Had a strike out his last turn, previous turns at bat have been a ground out back to the pitcher and a base on ball. So really needing to produce something for the SA team right here. Crushes this one right side and good aggressive hitting. You like one early in the count, so gets after that one. So is slightly behind with 1 strike. South Australia down to their last 2 outs. They need a run to tie it.
I do like how he's waiting on the pitch, James. He's waiting on it. After the change in pitchers, they're having to get used to things. We went from fast to slow to fast to slow. Gotta hold on.
Well, there has only been 2 strikeouts so far.
That's a cut. That is a meaningful cut right there. Dallasine really wants to do something with that ball.
Yeah, so 2 strikeouts so far for the Victorian defence. So complete polar opposites to what we saw last night. 16 strikeouts from Murphy. One was a KC from the relief pitcher in Purtell, and then last inning we saw the KC as well to end the inning. So let's see if Dabblestein can get the ball into play, and the Victorian defence hold up as they've done all game. Another foul ball to the right side. So
just missing it. He is on it.
2 balls and 2 strikes with this one out in the bottom of the 7th. Thanks for joining us, guys. We probably won't stay on the air too much longer after this final out is made. So just want to thank all the listeners and the viewers for joining us, and thank you, Kim, as well for joining me in place of the ill Lee Hull. So get well soon, buddy. We're thinking of you, and all the umpires and both teams need to be congratulated for a huge game. It's been massive so far. Here we go, full count on Dabblestein, and it's bounced through to the catcher, and Dabblestein aboard. So South Australia with the tying run aboard.
It's been an absolute pleasure to be part of this game tonight. So much fun.
Have you enjoyed your first men's calling your first men's game?
I do, and I do have to agree with you. There's not only a difference between the boys and the girls game, but just a different level of excitement and speed and pressure that I am really enjoying watching.
Well, catcher Alex Pelly up to bat. This one also bounces before the catcher, so Holiday just either trying to exploit that low strike zone, or he's just losing his rhythm a little bit here. Needs to get that ball up, but doesn't want to sit it in the middle. So there is a little bit of risk here. So high risk, high reward for Holiday. Low for a ball.
He's sticking with it, and I don't blame him one bit for sticking with that low ball now that she's calling it.
Called strike. I'm going to wait now for the call from the umpire. Normally call it as you see it for a commentator. Let's see what happens here as he has to go for this low one. It's a high chopping ball. Holiday thinks first, second, thinks lead-off runner. But because the ball traveled for so long, he just changed his mind and makes the right play in the end.
It was virtually a pop-up.
Yeah, as Pelly is retired, a 1-3. Oliver Askew now, the 9-hitter for South Australia. He came in and replaced Adam Davey very early in there. This is his 4th turn at bat. He's been aboard all 3 times so far. Single, infield single, 2 base on balls, tying run on second. Patiently watching. And you know what? The Victorian catcher just set it up there, just that little longer split second. Can't have the high and the low. Ferrero, but he tried to frame it as best he could. That did come through a lot higher than what he settled his glove though. Ball 1. Low for a ball. This one's hit up the middle. Dead ball, and hits the runner. That ends the game. That would have been
a tough way to end it with the base hit up the middle.
That would have been a...
Dabblestein needed to be able to get out of the way of that, be aware of where the ball is going.
Very interesting way for the game to end. A single would have seen Dabblestein move through. Aren't they asking the question, it didn't come off the field at first. The umpires have already called it. They're not even giving the coach a chance to speak to them. Oh, can we see that statewide super replay one more time? The Victorian boys are in jubilation. They're jumping around. Umpires didn't give a chance for the coach to have a speak to him. The coaches are still out there waiting to talk to the umpires. Slow motion replay, sees it clip the runner.
Indeed.
And it must go past the fielder before it can touch the runner. And aren't the Vic boys happy with the win? A tight game, 9 runs to 8, denying South Australia. What a terrific game. So well done to all 3 teams, the umpires, the Victorians and the SA boys. Very special thanks to Softball SA, Space Quake Sports. You have seen an absolute ripper of a game. Victoria victorious over South Australia, 9 runs to 8. Good night.